Hey guys, what's up? JDoZ back here again, and in today's video, as you can see, I'll be discussing are the Vikings still elite, or are this another mediocre football team? Let's get started.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name.
Alright, so as far as the biggest story of the Vikings this whole year has been the injury bug. I don't think any team has been injured nearly as bad as the Vikings. Going all the way back in training camp, the injuries started piling up before the season began. Early on, Sullivan and Lodeholt couldn't recover from their injuries from last year. Both retired off the team. So we're starting off, Joe Berger coming back. That's not really a downgrade there. He was a Pro Bowl center last year. Probably the best interior backup lineman in the NFL. I wish he'd been starting for the Vikings for a while now, but now he's starting and he's been doing a solid job there. Right tackle Phil Lodeholt, Andre Smith take his position. He was signed to be he could start, but we'd rather Lodeholt, a healthy Lodeholt, better than Andre Smith, but he's just a solid run blocking right tackle, still questionable at blocking. So that's the season begins, and week 3 was in the preseason. I was there. We saw Teddy have a phenomenal game in preseason. Now it is preseason, but still, numbers still make you optimistic for the regular season to come. And then shortly after, his knee blows out. We lose our starting quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater was, of course, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. He was in the Pro Bowl a year ago. He's extremely accurate, quick, he's decisive, he knows what to do with the ball, and he's a winner. So another big loss there. But as we all could have guessed before the season started, we traded, give up a first-round pick and a dependable fourth-round pick that could change depending on how well we do in the playoffs. For Bradford, which a lot of people criticized right when it began. But his first start, week 2 against the Packers, he destroyed them, giving the Vikings one of the best passing offenses we have seen in a long time. I say he looked the best since 09 Brett Favre, which is really saying a lot because a lot of people make a big point that 09 was Favre's best year as a pro, and there is a point for that as Sidney Rice came out of nowhere and it looked like a superstar with Favre, and then with anybody else he was below average to maybe not even be on the football field. And of course, he was injury prone as well. And Percy Harvin had a good year. Did have Adrian Peterson in the backfield to help him out, but still, Sam Bradford looked very, very good. And that was with Adrian Peterson completely struggling, and he struggled even more as he blew his knee out as well, tearing his meniscus. Now he is scheduled to come back in December. We can hope for that. Don't put your hopes up on that, but if we do make the playoffs still, which it looks like we should still be definitely in the running for, expect Adrian to be back by then. So you replace him with a combination of Jerick McKinnon, who struggled mightily, the bowling ball Matt Asiata, and we signed a Ronnie Hillman, who was released from the Broncos. So you lose those star players already. McLeal gets hurt, and another guy we always forget is Sharif Floyd, the 23rd overall pick from a few years ago, defensive tackle, who's played very, very well, and it's a big blow that no one really talks about because Tom Johnson and Shamar Stephen have been played very well to replace him, but still the depth is crazy to think about when you have a high-level player that's better than him in there for the first couple downs, and then you could use Tom Johnson and Shamar Stephen at their fuller capacity off the bench. It would keep everybody fresher, and it would keep that D-line a lot better. I would think preventing a lot of these long runs that result from our D-line getting tired, which wouldn't happen if we have our boy Sharif Floyd in the mix. So Matt Khalil goes out. First off, we were going to try with T.J. Clemmings at left tackle. Didn't work because Andre Smith went out as well. So you lose a combined 4 members of the offensive line. And now Our O-line is in shambles, like we've seen. We signed former first overall pick Jake Long to try to fill a void, and he looked abysmal his first couple of games. It looks like he might have found something last week versus the Lions. And right tackle, we've been rolling with Clemmings, who started a year ago. But it looks like he's taking a step back. I don't know what's happening with Clemmings. Maybe it's injury, maybe it's something else. But he has not looked as good as he did at the end of the last year for the Vikings. Left guard, more injury as Alex Boone got hurt last game. Shouldn't be serious, but Cyril actually did play and at a nice. He did play pretty well for his replacement. So don't worry too much about that, because we have a decent enough backup, and we have Mike Harris, who must be struggling because he started at right guard last year. Fusco was at left guard. They moved him back to his natural position at the right guard position, and I think he's been bad. One of our worst linemen when he's one of the few starters when the season began. Because if you look at our roster, the only people that were started at the beginning of preseason that are still in there because of injury or just getting shifted around are both guards, Fusco and Alex Boone. Now on the outside, optimistic is how well our receivers have played all year. With Diggs, Thielen, and been playing very well. The biggest surprise, of course, Cordell Patterson. A lot of Viking fans, including myself, was almost for sure this was going to be his last year with the Vikings, but he's first started playing gunner, which has been very well in our punt team since we have to punt a lot. But his receiving has really increased. He's been a better route runner. He's been catching balls in traffic. He can really get it done, and he run blocks very well as well. Cordell Patterson turning into a lot more of a team player. Looks like Mike Zimmer really got into him. And Sam Bradford's still playing well. Our running game's been abysmal. And our defense, for the first 5 games, has been, I think, without question, the best in the NFL. But after the last 3 losses, maybe there are some holes. With Xavier Rhodes missing some time at the beginning of the year. Trey Waynes played all right in his absence without any penalties. You could actually say he played very well, but he gave up quite a few penalty yards. And having Sendeo in that strong safety, making him look like his best year as a pro. And the Mike Zimmer off on the defense, he's looking very good. Although I would like to see eventually Curse go in that spot, because I think his potential is really phenomenal. A 6'4" safety with ball hawking skills that he showed off in preseason. If he can just refine his ability, I think he'll eventually be the number 2 safety alongside Harrison Smith in the backfield. So with all that clear, can we still be elite? Are we still a top caliber team in the NFL? And it's really hard to say. It really depends. I like the move with Norv Turner just taking the L and leaving and resigning as the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. I liked what Pat Shermer did his first week. Now that he has a full week under his belt for a full game plan, this is really where it comes to see how well he can orchestrate our offense to get the best out of it with how bad our O-line has been, and hopefully get some type of running game going. So that really is the determining factor. Can we run the ball whatsoever? I think if we're at where we are right now with how bad our run average is, I don't think we'll be anywhere near elite. I think top of the line, we're probably 10-16 if we can't get that done. But if we can get like a 4.5 yard average going, then you could still see us at 11 to 12 win team. Our defense will keep getting better. I think Sharif Floyd should be back within the next couple of weeks. He was never on the IR. Mike Zimmer has been talking about how he's been frustrated with his injury. I'm not sure if he's talking more about Sharif Floyd not doing something for his rehab, or he's just frustrated in general because he wants his big man back on the field. I think that's how a lot of the fans are responding to that. But getting him back in some type of running game, it could be very dangerous because, like I said earlier, Adrian Peterson should be back by the playoffs at the very least. So if we can get that back, our O-line starting to pick up defenders. We have fresh Adrian Peterson. Yes, he would be rusty, but Adrian Peterson has shown before that rust does not matter to him whatsoever, as he tore his ACL in 2011, then came back in 2012 and had one of the best years ever for running back in the history of the league. So that could be very, very dangerous if he has a 2012-like year, but only in the playoffs with our high-powered passing attack. Now that'd be the dream scenario for Vikings fans. If that happens, I don't see any way we don't win the Super Bowl. But that's a whole lot riding on how well our line can get there. Can we still get the playoffs? It looks like it's a three-way race right now. The Vikings are still in first place in the NFC North. The Lions are in second, and the Packers are in third. I don't see the Packers staying in third all year. I still see the Packers making the playoffs. But the Lions are going to be tough to beat. They beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings played fairly well against them. Though I think they have a better offense than they did last year. Instead of just having Calvin Johnson as the primary target, they have went out and got three solid receivers instead. So now Stafford is throwing the ball around a little bit more, and they have more plays and not just circling around big old Calvin. So I think that's the team to watch in the NFC North. But I think the Vikings are still the team to beat. They beat the Packers. Beating the Packers on the road is going to be a tough test, but I think we can do it if we play as good as we did in Week 2 versus the Pack. So I think the Vikings still elite. It's going to take some things to go. Right now we are not, but we get some guys healthy. I think our guys on offense are figuring it out. So give it a week or two, and I think we'll be back top of the power rankings, top 5, top 3, and I think that's where the elite boys roll in the league. So I want you guys to tell me down below, do you think the Vikings are still elite, or are they done? That's why I want the discussion to be down below. I know Bryce the Beast will give us his 2 cents, as always, and if you guys get offended from what he says, he's just joking around. We all know I play him in my kids' game, Dragon Ball Universe, too. So he's nothing to be too offended about. But otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next JoZ Viking video. See you guys.